We think about, okay, so how do we make our good habits easy and our bad habits hard? And one of the best things that we can do is when we open our pantry, we have things that we want to eat ready to grab. It's really hard to make healthy decisions if you have that bag of chips or Doritos staring you in the face. Welcome to the Feel Great with Kait podcast, where you'll learn how to master your health to achieve more in life. I'm your host, Kaitlin Borncamp, a CPA turned nutritional therapy practitioner. Together, we'll be unpacking powerful forces that are shaping your daily habits, providing effective ways to account for your health with practical strategies, and uncovering powerful insights to why your metabolic health is the key to fuel your energy, longevity, and success. My mission is to help more high achievers like you stop trading your health for your wealth. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, good to be with you today. Today I'm going to be talking to you about 10 super easy ways you can improve your nutrition without overhauling your life. So I want to start off by saying that I know as part of my journey, I've done a lot of different diets, I've tried a lot of different things, and it always comes down to what are this list of rules or what you need to do and what you can't do, like this do, don't list, all these rules, all these complicated things. And I want to just break down a couple super simple things that you guys can walk away with, very tangible, very easy to implement, and they will have a benefit to your health. And I'll be chatting a little bit about that too. But I also want to say too that oftentimes I think we sometimes have this feeling of, hey, I know I should be eating better, but I don't want to like start a program. I know sometimes I talk with people and they need it and they're ready for it, but they just aren't ready to commit to it. So these are things you don't even have to get to that level of committing. There's no program. There's no rules. And my goal for you today is to walk away with some new insights on, wow, it really can be that simple. And some of these things that you'll do to improve your nutrition will start to compound over time, right? So let's get into it. The first one is freezing your strawberry tops. This one sounds so simple and silly, but basically, you know how when you're prepping your vegetables or your fruit, oftentimes when we're cutting up strawberries, we throw away the top of the strawberries. And believe it or not, there's actually a ton of vitamins and antioxidants packed in the greens, strawberry greens, so in the top of your strawberry. So here's what you want to do. Instead of tossing them away, you want to just put them in a little container and then pop them into your freezer. And so then that way, when you go to make your next smoothie, you can just add them to your smoothie and you won't even notice them. There is so much vitamin C and some other nutrients in there. And also, it's a great way to not reduce waste. So, thank me later on that one. All right, the next one, number 2, is using bone broth as a smoothie base. So this is going to be an additional source of protein, collagen, some added minerals and other nutrients. And I find that if you do the right flavor bone broth, something that's a little bit more bland, like a regular one, I wouldn't do one that's like too savory or something. You won't even taste it. And it's a really, really great source of added nutrients, especially for helping to heal your gut and skin health and all of that good stuff. But we could all always use more protein and more minerals, and I found that this is a super simple way to add in bone broth into your diet because, again, when I talk to people about, hey, what are some things that I can do to heal my gut or, improve digestion, get better skin, some of those things that we really need and want on a daily basis, as soon as I bring up bone broth, their faces just start to cringe. And I get it. But so this is a really good way that you can just kind of sneak it into your diet without having to like fully taste it. Truth be told, there was once upon a time when I was working in corporate and public accounting where I was actually drinking bone broth at my office, at my desk, and somebody walked by and gave me the weirdest look, like, Kaitlin, is that bone broth you're drinking? I was like, yes, it is. So I was an early adopter. I really don't mind the taste, but I know it's not for everyone. So go ahead and throw your bone broth into your smoothie and you won't even taste it. Okay, moving along. Number 3, for the super easy ways for you to improve your nutrition is for you to sit down when you eat. We overestimate this so much because oftentimes we're just running around. Or I know for me, sometimes I'm so hungry by the time I get to eat that I'm eating as I'm making my meal. And then by the time I actually sit down to eat the rest of the meal, I'm like not hungry as much because I've been snacking and eating things maybe I shouldn't be eating. So this one is all around literally just sitting down as you eat. And this is doing a lot more for you as well. So, one thing it's helping us is that it's signaling to our body that it's okay to digest our food. we actually need to be in a relaxed state. Our body needs to feel safe. Basically, we need to be not stressed. So, in nutritional therapy, we call this rest and digest. Maybe you've heard that before. So, sitting down while you eat will help cue to your body that you are in the rest and digest state. And all this whole sequence of digestion responses will be enabled. Okay. Compare that to when you're literally scarfing down lunch, or when you're eating in your car, or you're eating while you're standing up. Your body's not going to be as well prepared or primed to digest that food. Okay. And that was like a huge, just a side note here, like that was a huge missing link for me, was at an early point in my health journey. I was so focused on eating the exact right amount of macros, the right amount of calories. Gosh, there's a point where I was obsessed with calorie intake, and I had no concept of digestion and no concept of, hey, the input, the quantity of food on your plate and like the what's on your plate is only one fraction of the equation of nutrition. So to take it to one step further, right? You have your food on your plate. You've built this beautiful plate. You've made all the good decisions. You went to the grocery store. Then you get to the meal time, and there is so many things that has to happen after that point. So what I mean by that is that our body also needs to digest the food, and then we need to absorb the nutrients, and then we need to utilize the nutrients. Okay? So there's like 3 or 4 other major processes that happen other than just of what's on your plate. Okay, so sitting down to eat is one of the best ways to help support that. All right, number 4, chewing your food slowly. Closely related to this, the last topic is when we're in a really busy rush state, especially during lunch, when we're just scarfing down lunch, we need to chew our food slowly. So digestion is a north to south process. It starts in your mouth, starts when you start to notice your food and chew your food. And so just think about it this way. The more that you're able to chew your food, the less bloating you'll have later on, and the better nutrient absorption you'll help enable downstream in the digestive process. Okay, so a good rule of thumb is to chew each bite around 20 or 30 times, but really you just want to make sure it's like pretty well chewed up in your mouth, and that way your body has an easier time digesting them, absorbing it later, like I mentioned. Okay, so chew your food. All right, number 5, reheat meals on a bed of greens. So this is one of my ultimate health hacks, because oftentimes I've batch cook or I've meal prepped, and so I eat leftovers. And this also works for leftovers from like any restaurant like Chipotle, or I really like some of the dishes like the noodle bowls from True Food, or anything that you're eating and you're like, wow, Kaitlin told me to eat more vegetables. How am I supposed to incorporate more greens or more vegetables in my diet? Reheating any leftovers on top of a bed of greens is such an easy way to do it. So here's what I do. Basically, you want to heat up the meal. So whether it's like for example, last night I had fish and rice, and then what I will do is today for lunch I put out a bowl, put some arugula in it, and then I top it with olive oil and salt, and then I put the leftovers on top of it. So it just makes it super easy. I really don't even notice it anymore, and it's a really, really good way to get more greens. Honestly, all of us need to be eating more leafy greens because of the nutrition value, but also too because those bitter greens help stimulate our digestion and again help aid in more nutrient absorption, which is a huge component, huge overlooked component in nutrition. Okay, number 6, keeping nuts and seeds prepared, ready to grab in your pantry. So this is one of those enablers where we think about, okay, so how do we make our good habits easy and our bad habits hard? And one of the best things that we can do is when we open our pantry, we have things that we want to eat ready to grab. It's really hard to make healthy decisions if you have that bag of chips or Doritos staring you in the face, right? So instead, what I want you to do is get some of your favorite nuts and seeds. This can be things like pumpkin seeds, walnuts, almonds. I really like hemp seeds. You can also do macadamia nuts, like really anything that you like to eat. Put them right in front of your pantry. And ideally, too, you can store these in like a mason jar or, just like in the bag, but you want to be able to read it or see it. And so that way, when you're eating some of your leftovers, AKA when you're eating some of those leftovers on the bed of greens, you can just compound it with that and then just sprinkle on some hemp seeds on top of your bed of arugula, or, when you're making a salad. And this will also help enable the next one. number 7, which is aim to get 30 different plants each week. Okay. I know that you may or may not have heard this. It's not like a new idea. There's many reasons why this is a top, nutritional tip that's recommended. The main one being is that we get a lot better gut health, gut microbiome health, if we eat a bigger diversity of plants and the different fibers and the different nutrients. And the last two things that I just mentioned help enable us to do this, right? So one way that I get like 3 or 4 more amount, like different types of vegetables in my like daily diet is eating my leftovers on a bed of greens. So I might do a batch of like the power greens that has spinach and wild greens and arugula. So there's 3 right there. That's 3 different types of plants. Count them. They're all 3 different. And then I might sprinkle on top um, hemp seeds, like I said. Those are really easy. And then maybe I'm also going to do some like macadamia nuts for a little bit more crunch. Or if I'm feeling like, I want to change it up a little bit, I really also am a fan of dried fruit. So maybe some dried blueberries. And that kind of gives it also some really good texture and flavor. So you have the bitterness from the greens, you have the saltiness from your nuts, and then you have your sweetness from your dried fruit. So all of that would be like, again, 4 or 5 separate plants in one meal that I'm eating. And if you're able to do that, over some of your meals, it doesn't have to be every single meal. You can pretty quickly get to 30 different types of plants each week. But it really does take having some of these go-to habits and, again, things already prepared, such as having those nuts and dried fruit stare you in the face instead of that bag of Doritos, to help enable yourself to hit that 30 different plants each week. So again, the goal is to make our good habits easy and our bad habits hard. All right, so number 8 on the list of super easy ways to improve your nutrition without overhauling your life is to use olive oil as your go-to dressing. So many health benefits. It's anti-inflammatory, it supports heart health, and it does make some nutrients from the vegetables that we're eating more absorbable. So some nutrients are what we call fat soluble, and we need to eat fat, so aka the olive oil, in order to fully digest and absorb them. And also, too, there's been a lot of studies out there now. Like if you follow Brian Johnson, he is a kind of extreme biohacker, but he's making some really good waves and some really good science just around the impact and health benefits of olive oil specifically. And I know too, just anecdotally that a lot of the blue zones, over in Europe, for example, like in Italy, Sardinia, they are consuming high amounts of olive oil. And one of the reasons they're thought to have, such long lives and such long, not just lifespans, but what we call a health span as well, is because of they're eating such high amounts of these anti-inflammatory foods. So again, using olive oil as your go-to dressing, topping that bowl that you're making, or anytime you're reheating some of your leftovers, you can simply just drizzle some extra olive oil on it. I find it goes really well when I'm reheating rice or when I'm reheating pasta, because it can be a little bit drier. So you kind of want to reconstitute it, and having those healthy fats is really helpful. Just side note, since we are talking about eating olive oil, consuming olive oil, it's not recommended to cook on a stovetop with olive oil unless you're going to keep it at sort of a low to medium heat. So olive oil is not a good frying oil. For that, I would definitely suggest using ghee or tallow, or you can use something like avocado oil instead. All right, number 9, start your meal with something bitter or fermented. So, this has so many benefits. Again, it's going to help stimulate our digestive system, and it's going to help to, anything fermented is going to be a really good addition to our gut microbiome. And the way that we can do this, super simple, is adding in something like an apple cider vinegar, a little bit into our water right before a meal. You might also think about adding just like 1 or 2 tablespoons of sauerkraut or kimchi on the side of your plate before you start eating it. And then also something like some other bitter greens, like radicchio is a good one, fennel is a good one, helps to kickstart your digestion and support your microbiome. And then number 10, upgrading your snacks. So I love this one because I think I get oftentimes asked what my favorite protein bar is, or my favorite snack. And I always say that jerky is one of the best protein bar options, if not like the original protein bar. So when we say to upgrade your snacks, we want to stay away from things that are super carb and sugar heavy, which is oftentimes the go-to when we think of the word snack. And we want to instead replace it with high protein and high fat options. Grass-fed jerky is a really good thing, really good option to use. So think of like your chopsticks or, your like jerky that you want to eat like out of the bag. That's an okay option as well. You can also, if you're near your home or refrigerator, you can do things like hard-boiled eggs. You could do some veggie sticks with hummus. Some other at-home options would be things like get some high-quality chicken, like sliced chicken and turkey, and then put some avocado and some other greens inside. Kind of have like a mini wrap would be some really good things. Or if you are craving something on the sweeter side, what you could do is like a dish of Greek yogurt and then top it again with those nuts and seeds that you have ready to go in your pantry and some fruit. Organic fruit would be a really good option as well. But really, the important part about upgrading your snacks is making sure that you're getting a source of protein and a source of fat within that. And, on the snack, like just as a reminder, a snack, your body doesn't know the difference between a meal and a snack. It's all food, it's all fuel. Food is information for our body. So reframe snack to meal, like small meal. I know that it might not be, traditionally what we think when we think of like a full plate. So in our mind, we think of snack as small, which is fine, but we've gotten away with too much crap using the word snack, right? It's like synonymous. It's a really fine line between junk food and snack. It's like, okay, well, as soon as we invite the idea of a snack, then I kind of am allowed to eat whatever I want. So just check in with yourself and understand how you have been using the word snack and if it works for you or not. But those are 10 super easy ways to improve your nutrition without overhauling your life. I hope you found it helpful. And I have 2 quick asks before we go. First, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a 5-star review. It helps me so much and it helps more people who need to hear this. And second, think of one person who needs to hear this message in your life and send it to them. Send them this episode. And you never know, you might be the spark that helps them make real change. How cool would that be? So until next time, my friends, stay healthy. Just a reminder that the information shared on this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended to be medical advice. It should not be used to treat, diagnose, or cure any medical condition. Always consult your physician or qualified healthcare provider before making changes to your health regimen or medications. Kaitlin Borncamp and Health Supply LLC, DBA Feel Great with Kait, disclaim any liability for outcomes resulting from the use of this content.